My God, you guys won't even believe what has just came out. And not only, but this is 12 minutes, so unfortunately I can't review every frame. Unfortunately I can't pause that much because I actually don't want to be sat here for 1 hour, bro. I'ma be real, because I probably will if I pause like 50 times. But the official Onett Fireside Chat RDC 2025 Onett Cup B-Swarm Simulator has been revealed, and I'ma be real, bro, like I knew Onett filmed this entire thing, but the other part only came out, so I was like, bro, there's no way that's the only thing that came out at RDC, bro. And no, it is not. So officially, let's actually start watching it and seeing before I start yapping. So boom.
Welcome Lauren Freeman, Eric from Evade,
Bro, why
Alex
they
from Jailbreak, Pearson from B-Swarm Simulator, and Colin from Gunfight Arena.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Let
I
it go!
am here with an amazing panel of developers.
Can someone get her server mudded, bro?
All of you probably don't need an introduction, but let's.
I'm not gonna pause as much, by the way, guys. Chill.
Who doesn't know who you are?
Yeah, hi. Sorry. My voice is cracking, so bear with me. I'm Pearson Harbut. I'm Onett, the developer, the sole developer of B-Swarm Simulator. I joined Roblox in 2009. I worked on my own mobile games for many years and finally made my first Roblox game in 2018, B-Swarm, and I've been at it ever since. Yeah.
I forgot to introduce myself because I was so excited.
Bro, get her server modded, bro. Nobody cares. Just have it on it. Speak for 2 hours.
Let's get
Wow, we
started.
can already
have
get in ads.
A ton
ads.
to cover in a short amount of time. So today you're going to hear about how to run live services, how to, continue to delight your players, bring them
Can we
back
skip
to
this
your
segment?
game for years.
I'm trying to hear on it, bro.
We're going to walk you through the ideation before for following that all the way through to.
Wait, she's explaining the question.
Having your game out for many years, as you all have. Let's start with that early pre-launch phase. Love to hear about what were you thinking about at that point? Were you planning for live services? Did you have a plan for the content that you wanted to release after you launched? Let's take the audience back many years ago and where you were at that point. Yeah, okay. Jump in.
So in the early stage, I was directly inspired by a trend, the social living simulator game, the incremental clicker collecting trend at the time. And my entire conception was that I wanted to take this very addictive and visceral mechanic and turn it into a more proper world. And I reflected in the early stages on my favorite games growing up, MMOs, and I had pretty thorough spirals. And I think I had a pretty good conception because the initial reason for making the game was so straightforward. What was going to make mine stand out was the elaborate stuff. So, yeah.
Did you was your intuition right? So once you launched the kind of content that you had planned, was that the content your players wanted, or did
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think so. What B-Swarm added was basically just more complex mechanics to something that people already knew, were very familiar with, and that's why it stood out. On top of also just having a unique style and stuff. But I think from the start, I had a game plan of, okay, I'm going to hook them in like this, and then I'm going to sink a couple more hooks into them once they unlock this gate, once they discover this new mechanic. And that was a very conscious plan, and I just kept adding layers to those hooks, and yeah.
Cool. Let's jump to the next stage. So, you've been post-launch for a little while.
What's
How
next?
Did you prioritize subsequent content updates or running events? I'd love to hear a little bit about how things, changed once you have players coming into your experience at higher volumes.
So kind of like I mentioned, in the early stages of B-Swarm, I started with mostly doodling and planning out. So I noticed those first few weeks and those first few months were really just bringing the game to fruition, like giving bees leveling or even equipments and stats, more complicated stuff like that. I knew from the start that it should be there, but like Alex kind of mentioned as well, I didn't want to waste my time on something that was just fundamentally not fun. I released B-Swarm, and I would say it looked very much like it does today, but I knew that, I knew that it was going to flesh out into something else.
Don't worry about it.
And so it was
Don't worry about
much easier to do those first few updates because I knew exactly what it had to be.
Exactly.
As I got a few months in, I started, these were bottom of the barrel type. Not bottom of the barrel, or ones that were a little more ambitious and stuff, or that not quite as essential. And I could become more experimental because BSwarm had a more solid base. But, it went from weekly to bi-weekly to monthly to annually, but...
Were these like major features?
Oh, hell nah.
Very major features. Like,
He don't care.
BSwarm, I want it to feel substantial, and I want it to add something that is unlike all the other mechanics in the game, but still feels like it essentially should have been there from the start.
That's true, though.
Like, man, I can't imagine BSwarm without this. But yeah,
Probably
that early stage, I would say, was just coming into fruition. So quite easy, but extremely stressful. And the emotional toll of having all these people yelling at you and going from hermit life to...
Bro, he definitely means all of us in the official BSwarm server, and like me screaming in videos, bro, just give us the new backpack every week for like in 2023. Oh hell nah.
To basically social media and YouTubers hitting you up.
Oh my god, he's actually talking about me. Oh my god, bro said YouTubers hitting you up. This dude knows.
That was the hardest part. Yeah.
Oh my god! Yo, we're cooked, bro. How did I even get YouTube stickers? Yo, to be honest, I barely even hit him up, though. Let's be real, bro. I was spam making videos. That's different, though. I wasn't hitting him up that crazy, that much.
It sounds like early days you had a pretty clear idea of what you wanted on your roadmap.
That's kind of funny, to be honest.
Some, existing paradigms that were out there in terms of the features that were needed. But after that, you got a little bit more experimental in the months to come. All right. Let's spend a little bit of time on, we've kind of covered on this. Or Onett, did you want to add something?
I think there's a tidbit that could be useful.
It's on it.
Yeah.
So, like, in regards to how much you're releasing content and stuff, I think we've seen it clear as day with certain trends that have come and gone, that you can quickly, by caving to
we heard this before, but let's keep
what
watching.
Seems so obvious, follow trends without even realizing you're doing it, and tacking stuff on until your game becomes top heavy and caves in on itself. I think the reason BSwarm has lasted relative to other incrementals, other simulators and stuff, is because I built a trust with the players that they knew, like, okay, I'm not giving you what's the most obvious update right now. You want the weekly 5 newbies, you want this or that, but I'm giving you what I think you will desire more in the end. And that's what allowed me to get away with the slower cadence and give the game more longevity. So many games don't even realize that they're chasing trends, that players will go to other games and get their fix there. And your game just becomes a hollow kind of just representation of a moment as opposed to its own product. So you have to, my philosophy, I work really slowly, but my philosophy is to really think about your updates before you put them out there, and don't just chase, the short term.
Yeah, whenever you talk about this, it really strikes a chord. It seems like you've done a great job maintaining.
I have TikTok attention span. Okay, 7 minutes.
Your initial hypothesis of what the game should be and what it needs to be, and not pandering to like the noise. Like you factor it in, but it's not what's driving.
I'm very stubborn about that. I'm very sensitive, so I do listen to the noise, and I watch my Discord, I watch YouTube and stuff. But I think,
bro, he watches, bro. I know Onett. Yo, Onett, if you're seeing this right now, I know you're probably gonna see it. You're the GOAT, bro, and you're doing really well with this, and you're doing really well with BSwarm, bro. I know I sometimes be making videos and stuff, right? Just please ignore me, bro. But half the time, to be honest, I don't even know myself. But, bro, you know anyway. You know that. I
think the reason BSwarm has remained its own thing and remained alive was because
you're the GOAT.
I chose to stay on the path that I took when I started. I haven't brought on help, so there's been no dissolution of accountability or
that's
creative
true,
vision.
To be honest.
And
I think it would have died,
that's
maybe.
One of the special things about Roblox. I don't have to work with a team. I have this invisible team behind me that is taking care of all the technical stuff, and I'm allowed to do the more fun and simple and naive side of design and drawing and music, and that's what's made it retain its core.
How is your team?
That is probably why bro still enjoys making BSwarm, because of all those things. Because to be honest, I can't do anything myself, you know what I mean? The other side. I'm gonna be real, bro.
Evolved, if at all, from like pre-launch to, later after, launch, say a couple months, 6 months later, a year later. Did you grow your team? Did you find yourselves like having to hire new disciplines?
I didn't think about this in rehearsal or anything, but when you're talking about like the team, kind of, it just naturally coalesced. Like my Discord just manifested, and they had to force me to get ownership of it. And B-Swarm is the way it grew.
That's kind of funny.
It wasn't like a typical RPG with like typical stats and stuff.
True.
There's this huge macro community and really brilliant people like the Natro macro guy that transformed. The community transformed the game, and I had to demand.
Onett shouted out, Natro macro.
And I found that so engaging for me. It was fun for me to put out my cards, like these certain mechanics, and see like, wow, instant conversion does this when they do this, and I never would have thought that, and to try to save mechanics that I thought were essential, like capacity or whatever. But essentially, B-Swarm grew into this crazy kind of hyper min-maxed macroing game with spreadsheets and stuff that I never anticipated. And so it wouldn't be fair to say that I designed it all myself. I think on team scale though, I don't like a contract. I don't want to, go a corporate route, because I've seen it pan out where like you said, when it's an individual or it's a friendship, there's a soul there. There's something infinitely accountable. As soon as it's an arrangement to make some money between people, you will start to inevitably lose it. And but the nature of really social media and all of this is that we have that,
I couldn't relate to that.
We have those guiding hands, those
real.
brilliant people that rise up and out of their own will and passion and love for your game, put countless hours into these auxiliary tools and just, setting up Discords and stuff. Yeah. And that feels way more natural and better,
It's
just
so cool. Just
honest.
This concept of the broader community and influencers as an extension of your team. But I also know for you, Onett, you shared that like your community knows who you are. You engage directly. You shared that like you show up at events sometimes. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we haven't talked about those types of things. So when I made B-Swarm, I had Onett like sitting on the hives. I had Onett as an NPC in one of the earliest quests, and I knew from my interactions with like game masters in like MMORPGs that it was that human element and that human connection to the people steering the ship that made it feel like you were part of something communally. And I would spawn monsters in on people. I'd spawn sprouts and stuff. And
in real time.
In real time.
In the server.
Like, admin abuse.
Service, like sending messages out or role playing as the bears during Christmas and stuff. What we've seen though, and I knew that mechanic was powerful, but now it is so perfected by Jansen, by Sammy, and we knew that it's that human part of design, that more just irreverent and more immediate and personal part. But they systematized it, and it's just so crazy to see it blow into record-breaking mechanics. Yeah, it's just insane.
Let's dig into another topic. So all of your titles have been in the market for quite some time. Let's talk about how you've got new players coming in for the first time, but you've got players who have been around for a really long time. How do you balance that? Because that seems really hard. How do you make sure you're not alienating a certain player? How about you, Onett?
Yeah, wait, what were we just talking about? Oh yeah, okay, so how do you make the
kid in class that don't listen?
The new players.
That's low-key me.
I kind of touched on this a little bit. I think when you join B-Swarm for the first time, what you do at first is very similar to what it was in 2018.
True.
B-Swarm was already constructed in such a way that you have to unlock gates. You're hidden away in buildings and hidden away by talking to bears and stuff. It unravels the more complex stuff to you. So I could just hide those further in. Even stuff like dialogue and stuff becomes, at first it's very literal and very children's book, and then it becomes more like, just teasing or longer and more narrative and stuff, but deeper in. And so as I did updates, I would just sometimes, try to smooth out the early stage, but mostly I would just elaborate on those deeper layers, which you don't really become apparent to you until you've played B-Swarm for weeks or months sometimes, so it really wasn't a problem. And when you join, it still just looks as simple as it did day one, which I think many simulators, many other games, they become so bloated that when players join, the first 90% of the game is irrelevant, and they're trying to rush you to the most recent content, and then the entire world kind of hollows out and collapses in on itself. And
that's true.
Trying to rush them to the late
and also
game.
You join and you're overwhelmed, obviously, like you were saying, Colin. It's like, and that just scares people away. So you have to meditate on it a lot.
100%.
That's time. There's a blinking red light, so I'm assuming that means we need to go.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was actually a really good interview, to be honest. Onett done really well. I'm gonna be real, bro, and I agree with him on everything. Like, I remember bro was talking about like the YouTuber part. Was kind of funny because bro sees that. I hope Onett don't take anything that crazy, because I'm pretty sure most people are just, you know how people are, but overall everyone loves Onett. He's just the GOAT. Of course he made Beastworm, of course, although we're speaking to speak, you know what I mean, but overall we're still gonna wait no matter what. I mean, we have to, but we're still gonna wait till a new update comes out. We still gotta do all these things, so it's not really exactly. And if sometimes, you know what I mean, Onett doesn't do something, maybe it's good that an unfinished update doesn't come out. Maybe it's good to wait until something, whatever he's working on next or with it. To be honest, I don't even know how to say this, but you guys know what I'm talking about anyway. Anyway though, overall W interview, I agree with him on everything. I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't even know what to say, because bro, like, he literally said everything himself, bro, and I already said it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been a good video, I'm not gonna lie. W Onett interview for real, I did really like it. Let me know if you guys liked it and what you guys thought about it too. Make sure to subscribe too, and I definitely can't wait for the next update for real.